I'm gonna give you all the information about how to code this thing from scratch using no libraries, just pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Hey, what's up? I'm Lucas Paganini, and in this video we are gonna code this super nice burger menu icon transition. This video is part of a promotion of videos that I'm doing for my web animations course. I am not gonna hold information back just because I'm selling a course. No, relax. I'm gonna give you all the information about how to code this thing from scratch using no libraries, just pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I'm only gonna promote my course in the sense of, here I'm gonna teach you everything about doing this animation, but of course I can't teach you everything about web animations in this single video, which is why I have my web animations course, which takes you in a very step-by-step approach to learn web animations. So if that is something that you're interested in, you can check out lucaspaganini.com/web animations. The link will also be in the description and also pinned in the first comment in the comment section. Thank you. I won't try to sell you anything anymore. Let's do it. All right. Okay. So first off, let me give some credits. So this burger menu animation was inspired by all the hundreds of thousands of burger menu animations that I've seen in the internet thus far. But most importantly, I was browsing to find some examples and I found some on Dribbble. So I found this one from Mononilo, and also those really cool animations from Juhe Houtkamp. I have to stop trying to pronounce those names. I'm terrible at it. But none of them were exactly in the way that you think would be best, because you will know exactly how each detail in this animation works. All right, let's hop onto CodePen. I will create a new pen. Okay, and let me call this Web Animations Practice Burger Menu. By the way, do you know when should we use burger and when should we use hamburger? I was actually searching on the internet about that, but I really didn't take the time to learn the details of it. But if you know, give me a brief description in the comment section. I want to click on. This button will have a class of burger, because I don't know if it should be burger or hamburger, and collapsed. So I will use Ardia expand in an opening or closing state. So if it's in the default state, just the burger, then it will be Ardia expanded false. But if it's this really opens up a menu. So if you click it by default, and the menu will be expanded. So for accessibility reasons, I am using that to define if it is expanded or not. And this is actually very similar to another video that I did up right in my face. So check this video. That was really interesting, and I'm reusing a lot of that in this JavaScript here. Is expanded. This is gonna be this variable, this constant here is gonna be attribute, and the attribute that I'm gonna get is Ardia expanded. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna toggle this value. So if it was true, I'm gonna change to false, inverting the result. So I get the current value of the attribute. Actually, I need to see if the current value of the attribute is equal to, this is not a boolean, so I need to see if it's equal to the string true, so that I can convert value of the attribute to be the, okay, that's better. Okay, so every time that I'm clicking on this to blah blah blah, so we're not seeing that because we're not doing anything with that invert element, and I'm gonna say that when Ardia expanded is, yeah, it definitely is working. Definitely is working. And Ardia expanded is equal to true. We're gonna do a change in the top red. We will also do a change in the meat, and we'll also do another change in the bottom bread. Okay, so what we're gonna do, for now, let's just rotate the bars. So in the top bread, I will use transform rotate to rotate this bar 45 degrees. Okay, seems that we also have to get it down a bit, but let's do with that. The last one should actually be negative 45 degrees. The top one, we need to move it downwards. So the height of the bar is 12 pixels, and translate y. So we're going to translate in the calculation of the value of 12 pixels. Okay, this is still pretty weird. So translate y. This one needs to be minus 12 plus minus 1 rem. This looks awful. What is it? Let me inspect the element. So the top rem. Oh, good. Ah, okay. That. I think it's one of the flex properties in the container in the burger. So let me try changing that here. So maybe it's like justify content. Oh shit. Okay, that's cool. Oh, I know what it is. That's so cool. I knew that, but I've never had trouble with that, so I just forgot that this was important. So the order of your functions inside transform matters. So I was first rotating, and then I was translating in the y-axis. And because of that, I think the center of the element was in a different position, so I was translating y, and then it was going to the left. But if I first move it downwards and then I rotate, then it gets in the right position. That's so cool. So look at that. If I put rotate first, then it goes to the wrong position. But if I leave rotate at the end, then it goes to the right position. This is so cool. Huh. Here, I'm gonna do it in a different way just so that you can really understand what I mean. So here, can you see? Maybe that's like too small. Okay, so look at that. If I use first translate y and then I rotate, then it goes to the position that I want. But if I first rotate and later translate, then it goes to the wrong position. I knew that. I knew that the order of functions were important, but I never had an issue with that. Like, I've never cared about that. That's really interesting to know. All right. Okay. So what we want to do here is do the translate first, and after that we do the rotate. Cool. Okay, same thing here. So we're gonna first translate, then rotate. Now it works. Okay, and it's only maintaining the styles of the rotated position of this one because I was inspecting the element and making changes. So okay, now we're good. Okay, now this is already working, but of course now we got to do the actual transition, which is pretty easy. And now we just got to add transition. I'm only going to transition the transform property. Let's use 300 milliseconds. I think it's just a time that feels good to me. You can choose whatever you want. And I'll use the ease timing function to have some smooth movement. Okay. There. I was putting that into the burger. I have to put that into the layers of the burger because they are the ones that are getting changed. Okay, cool. Look at that. Ha! This looks so cool. Alright, that was it for today's video. Again, if you want to learn everything that I know about web animations in a linear step-by-step process so that you can learn from the basics up until the advanced use cases, and then you don't have to look for tutorials of how to create this particular burger menu animation. No, you will just know how to create your own animations because I will teach you all the tools that exist and how to use those tools and all the different things that you can do with them. Because quite frankly, what we did here in terms of actual transitions and web animations, it wasn't that hard. So if you're just watching this video and thinking, oh, that was easy, I don't need a course to learn that. Yeah, you don't. Like, I just gave the knowledge to you. You don't need to pay for a course for that. I just gave you the knowledge. But there are places where we can do much more advanced things, such as running an animation, not just a transition, because a transition is a change between two states, which is what we have here. We only have the state where we have the burger and when we have the X. So that's easy. But what if you need like multiple transformations in the meantime? Then you will need an animation. And what if you need to like play and pause and support users that might have motion sickness, so you need to know how to take care of all that, and you need to consider performance, then suddenly things get way more complicated. So if you want to learn all those other things that are more complex and give you real superpowers, then consider checking out my course, lucaspaganini.com/webanimations. All right. Thank you. I post content about web development. I also have content on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. So I don't know what's your social network of preference. But if you want to consume more content about web development, you can do so in those other links that I'm putting in the video description. And also, I think this is important because people are not aware of that. But you can send me a message directly. Like if you want to really get to know me, interact with me, sure, why not? Just go to any of those social media networks and just send me a, hey, Lucas, like, let's talk, let's meet up. I am down for it. All right, I want to meet all of you at the other side of the screen, seeing me as I am making mistakes and creating things for the web. So yeah, let's do that. Thank you and have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.